Hey, I think we're recording, Ken. Are you ready to talk about Doctor Strange?
Yeah. Let's talk about Doctor Strange.
Cool! Yeah!
This is a show about stuff. A show about things. And sometimes we talk about stuff and things. And things and stuff. This is a show about things. And occasionally we talk about stuff. Oh, and sometimes we talk about things and stuff. And stuff and things. Stuff and things.
Oh, it's amazing!
Welcome to Stuff and Things. I'm not dead. Like Christ, I was resurrected and re-risen.
Yeah.
The re-risening.
Yeah, the Christ the Re-Risening. That's not the movie we saw this week, though.
No.
What was the movie we did see?
We saw Doctor...
Fuck you!
Okay. Do you want to talk about Doctor Strange?
Oh, is that the movie we saw?
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna start talking about House MD, because you're always fucking ranting about it.
It's a great show. Is it
Okay.
a show? Or... yeah, it's a great show.
So what did we see this week?
We saw Doctor Strange, which is a movie about a wizard, and he loses his hands, and he goes through a bunch of Windows 10 screensavers, and he stops Hannibal Lecter from making Sky Monster destroy the world. Am I anywhere correct on any of my plot synopsis of the movie?
Honestly, I'm not sure. You might be. I'm gonna say that I loved this movie.
Yeah.
Like, it's in my top 5, I'd say, guilty pleasure movies of all time.
I thought you were gonna say of all time. And
No. It's not a very good movie, but I fucking loved it. It starts out just like, whoa, look at this crazy shit, you know?
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. You mean the intro?
Yeah,
where it's
it just
like all the
starts
outfit.
out with just buildings morphing and rotating and like just grandma fucking. I don't think that actually
That was
happened,
Tilda
but
Swinton. She was doing all the grandma fucking.
yes.
I would fuck her with that bald head.
Is Tilda Swinton the same person as Kate Hudson?
Yeah, they're the same people.
Okay, good.
You start off this movie with a sex scene with them, and you got a guaranteed box office gold.
But yeah, it just starts off just like, hey, look at this crazy shit. And I liked that. It was engaging right away.
It was.
Oh yeah, there's not an ashtray over here. So
I can be professional now. It's good.
Yay, being professional. Yeah, it started off just immediately very engaging.
Yeah.
And then it
Confusing though.
yes, confusing as fuck, but like I like when something just is like, here's where you are, and it
Right.
jumps you into it, and then it can slow down and explain the plot, which
Well, you kept on saying
it
the
didn't
Matrix.
particularly do.
And that's like the Matrix beginning, if you think about it, because the beginning, it starts off with, like, what is it, Carrie-Anne Moss, like, running away or something like that from the
Yeah.
Smiths or whatever have you? Or I might be thinking of the second one. So
I'm
too
not
sure.
positive, but yeah, I mean, definitely there was comparisons to The Matrix in that it was like visually
It starts off
awesome.
crazy.
The basic plot of it was like cool and confusing, and it made you interested, even though it made no fucking sense.
Yeah. Full disclosure, I passed out like 6 or 7 times.
Yeah, there was a few like, hey.
The dialogue killed me in this movie. It is, which you'll even attest. That's the one thing that like you like the movie for in a guilty pleasure way, which is fine for me. I just like it. It couldn't keep my interest half the time. It was just like an uninteresting Tony Stark to me.
Yeah, that's the
That's
thing
what-
is that
I blame
the
the
dialogue was fucking awful.
Yeah.
The script was like random and weird and didn't make sense, but it was engaging.
Yeah.
And I liked that, and the dialogue was awful, and so that's why I say it's one of my guilty pleasures, like, ironically, another Marvel movie in Blade.
Yeah.
Blade is one of my favorite, like, that's probably also in my top 5, like, guilty pleasure movies, and movies that aren't good, but, like, I fucking love to watch them.
I like Blade 2 more. Everyone always gives me shit for that, but I love the mouth vagina vampires. I love just the cinematography of it a little bit more.
Okay, so we didn't talk about this, but I think that now's a good time to talk about it. We're gonna fucking just deviate way off subject.
We already like the movie, and we can get back to it. That's fine.
Blade 2, to me, is a lot like Boondock Saints 2. Like, whenever the dude, whatever his name is, I can't remember his name, made Boondock Saints, he didn't know that he was making this cult classic movie. I mean, you can't know that.
Well, you're saying they didn't know Blade was going to be successful.
Well, no, I'm saying that he didn't know that Boondock Saints was going to be this cult classic movie. So whenever he made Boondock Saints 2, he made it like this movie where, like, oh yeah, it's like cool for the kids that like cult classic movies, and it's like, no, you're trying.
Yeah.
In Boondock Saints, the first one, he wasn't trying to make a fucking cult classic movie. It just happened to be that. In Boondock Saints 2, he knew what the franchise was, and he was trying too hard to make it the thing that people liked the first one for.
And you're saying that's what Guillermo del Toro did with Blade 2.
Yeah, like, once they realized that people liked it, then they started trying to pander to the people that liked it, and it wasn't good because of the pandering. Like, the accidental, just humor and good stuff was a lot better than trying to do the humor and good stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Speaking of pandering, what about that new Marvel logo? Where it's just like literally 20 seconds of like just Marvel characters. This is all Hollywood is.
I really actually liked the Marvel logo.
Okay.
I was surprised.
Cool.
I was like, that's actually a pretty cool logo. Like, normally logos, it's like, get the fuck out of here. But that, I was like,
yeah,
I'm cool with this. Like, unlike, the WWE thing at the beginning of every Raw. It's like, shut the fuck up and get out of the way,
Yeah. It's
for anybody who watches wrestling. But, yeah.
Maybe one of these days we'll have a podcast dedicated to wrestling. I know you're not fluently up to date with it, but I am.
I pay enough attention to at least debate it a little bit.
Yeah.
But, okay, so Doctor Strange.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Jesus Christ, that was like 3 minutes of fucking off-topic shit.
For me, I mean, the movie's got great action set pieces. I think it falls a little bit short for a couple of reasons. One, it suffers from what every Marvel movie does, and that's a weak-ass villain, and I'm not even sure which one was the overall villain of the movie. That's another big problem. It's just like they throw in this random guy out of nowhere. Well, they hint at him, but it's still like, oh, okay. And the threat isn't even that big.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, there's this guy doing things, but you can do the things that can kill him, so go do that.
It's like Superman versus Bizarro Superman. It's just like, where's the conflict? It's just two things smashing each other and there's no resolution. Just, it happened.
Yeah. Unlike, which I've complained about before in a video, The Incredible Hulk, though, with Edward Norton, where it was just like, It did do that, and I have to say, the CGI was fucking beautiful in this movie. I really love the visuals, and, like, if you try to put CGI into a movie that is, like, set in reality, I don't think it works very well.
No.
Transformers! But, this movie was so over-the-top CGI that I was completely okay with it because I accepted that the world was mostly CGI, and it was fucking beautiful. The visuals were awesome.
Well, the story gets it across enough where the world they're in allows the CGI to kind of exist. Like, even like the Thor movies, the second one probably more is a movie where you can use that kind of CGI consistently and it's fine. But then it's funny because you have something like Green Lantern, which did it the whole way through, and it's regarded as the worst comic book movie of all time.
I did not watch that one. I watched the other one, The Green Hornet. I watched that.
Well, yeah, that's just a shame, that movie. Because it's like Michel Gondry in a comic book film, what could go wrong? And somehow, maybe studio, I don't know.
Well, Seth Rogen was writing it. And I mean, no offense to Seth Rogen. I like a lot of what he writes,
yeah.
but I haven't watched more than the pilot episode of Preacher. But you said that was good.
I love Preacher. Preacher's great. If you want a good comic book AMC show that'll probably get canceled, Preacher.
I don't know. I think it actually did pretty well. But anyway,
good.
back to Doctor Strange. Yeah, the plot was acceptable.
Yeah. Considering it's not really much about the plot as the visuals.
Yeah, that's the thing, is to me, I sometimes like movies that are more like a music video.
Yeah. That's why I like Under the Skin.
Yeah, and once again, I wish that I liked it.
Yeah.
I wish that I did, but it was fucking boring.
To me, that's a music video. Or even, like, you look at something like A House of a Thousand Corpses. Like, you could play the last 30 minutes as, like, with any metal music out.
Yeah, even then, yeah, because that movie's not nearly as good as Devil's Rejects by any fucking means, but
the last 30 minutes, I do love that.
Yeah, so, yeah, this movie, the plot was acceptable. It brought you along well enough. I feel like it was so over the top that it didn't matter what was really happening.
Yeah.
Because it was just like crazy shit happening. I mean, there was like a long part in the middle where it was very kind of plot and dialogue heavy, but like you knew that something crazy was coming, and so it was well worth it. I didn't get bored. It was just very visually beautiful, and I was engaged, and I loved it, and it's not a good movie, but I definitely want to see it again.
I do want to see it again, mostly because of the sleep apnea I had throughout the film. Like, the dialogue, I really want to give it another chance. Maybe it wasn't as terrible as my insomnia was saying it was, but... the funny thing is, it's an origin movie. There was another movie that came out, X-Men Apocalypse, which I know you haven't seen, but you watched.
Yeah, I watched the cinema scenes of it earlier.
And the funny thing is, the whole movie, it really is all just about Professor Xavier losing his hair. That's literally what the movie ends up being, and it's retarded only for the fact that's like an origin story, but it's the 5th film in the series, so that doesn't make sense. Like, I miss the days of Spider-Man. Like the original Sam Raimi one, where it's just like, I got the costume, now we got the rest of the movie to worry about.
Okay, you brought up that it's an origin story, and that was one thing that I said to you about 10 to 15 minutes into the movie. I was like, I'm concerned that this is going to be an origin.
Yeah, you did.
Do you think it was? Do you think that Doctor Strange will end up in the Avengers or something like that? Do you think that he'll play a part in the Marvel Universe?
I think he was more being... Well, yeah, I mean, that end cinematic, which, spoiler alert, we haven't really spoiled anything yet, so that's kind of the nice thing we just saying this now is... at the end credits, they do the famous, little Marvel whatever thing, and he's talking to Thor.
Yeah.
And he's constantly refilling his beer because he wants to get him drunk, because it's Benedict Cumberbatch. Who wants to take advantage of Chris Hemsworth. He wants to touch him. But either way, they have a little end cinematic, and it's obviously hinting at that the next Thor movie we're going to see probably Doctor Strange. Love.
Or how I learned to stop fucking and have sex with a bomb shell. A blonde bombshell.
Yeah, name Thor. name the juicy Chris Hemsworth, not his tool brother who's ruined Ghostbusters 2016, because the women were great in that.
And just Melissa McCarthy, she's fat, right? Okay, well, now that if anybody hears me say that, there's going to be a lot of hate. Unfortunately, nobody's going to hear me say that.
All right, well, what's the review? We should
okay,
just
so,
end it here.
What I feel about it being kind of an origin movie is that it sort of was, but
it's
like
really
it's
just about
still...
him getting the cape on.
Yeah, it's still played as a very, very good movie.
Yeah, the visuals.
It wasn't just a setup. Like a lot of origin movies are just a setup for later movies to come. DC, you're trying to do that and you're fucking failing horribly. I don't even like Marvel. I don't give a shit. I haven't seen any of the Avengers or Thor or anything, so no hate on DC versus Marvel, whatever. But just, I feel like it was a very good movie, despite being sort of an origin story. I normally don't like things that are just a setup for other movies, like, because, hey, we want your fucking $42, I think it costed to go see that.
Around that. Well, it was $11.50 each, which is
yeah, and then it's like, we're giving you this so that it's like a little tidbit for the next movie that you can give us another fucking $8,300
Which we should
because of
also point out
inflation.
one thing. How many other people were there in the movie theater? Granted, it was a Monday night we saw this.
There was 2 people in there when we went in there, and then like
That group of hot chicks.
4 girls came in and talked a bunch, which was actually kind of nice because I like to talk during movies. Whenever I'm not with like a packed movie theater, obviously that's a dick move. But like,
If it's
you
a
know,
few people, why not?
in a few, yeah.
We feel
so,
free to laugh at the stupid parts more often.
Yeah.
Little quippy insults about the movie.
Yeah, 0 out of 10 didn't see Ben Affleck's dick. I almost got fucking fought for saying that at the end of Batman vs. Superman.
Which was great.
You know, so yeah, none of that shit, but
And it's not like anyone was happy at the end of that movie.
okay, so
Back
what
to the review.
what I would rate you go first. What would you rate Doctor Strange?
If we're doing nips, I'd say you probably need 2 nips just for the dialogue and kind of some of the pacing is a little weird. But other than that, it's a great movie because it's trying something new. It's doing visual storytelling, which is interesting. I wish there was more Benedict Cumberbatch to learn more about him. Or maybe it's just because the character was written so dry, I didn't give a shit. It's like Tony Stark without the personality is my issue there.
It was weird. It was a weird script.
They didn't really give enough time for him to kind of become this...
That's one thing that I didn't say is that I think the acting was on point. The script was really fucking weird, but everybody did fucking what they could.
Yeah, I don't
with
think they
the
gave
script.
him enough to make the character more either likable or have as much character as he should. I don't blame them.
I was unsure for the first like hour of the movie if he was going to end up being the villain or not, because literally, I knew nothing about the movie going in.
Me neither.
And I knew nothing about the comic going in, so I really didn't know. All I heard was it was like an artsy movie, and I was like, okay, I'm into that kind of thing.
Movie.
And yeah, it
Richard Linklater directed it.
did it take 12 years to make?
It did.
But no, I knew nothing going into it about besides the fact that like visually it was cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, the actors I think did a very good job with the really weird, fucking convoluted, shitty script they were given.
Yes.
I'll give them credit for that at least.
And the cinematographer and the director, they all did a good job. It's just I'd really blame most of this on the screenwriters. And that little stuff. Other than that, everyone else did a great job with this film.
Okay, so your rating is 2 nips?
2 nips, which we'll call that, for me at least, a regular score. That's an 8 out of 10, I'd give it.
Okay.
If I were to give it to Rotten Tomato for them to throw in their stupid little thing.
I give it a 0 nips out of 10, but I do give it at least like 6 bull rips, and like probably it'd be better if you took like 3 tabs of acid.
Yeah.
Like 6 bull rips, 3 tabs of acid out of movie.
This is just as good as any Pixar movie to trip balls on, except the better benefit is that you don't have to worry as many children being there and feeling like a weirdo that you're tripping nutsack with a whole bunch of children around you.
Yeah, granted, I mean, I was drinking, I think I ended up having like 4 or 5 nips throughout the entire thing, but that's just because I was trying to get fucked up enough to enjoy the visuals without being high. And, but yeah, this movie is definitely, like, you should watch it high, because it's just so out of control, and,
Yeah. Go see Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I recommend it. Go see it.
Yeah.
Fucking take drugs, but go see it. Definitely. In the theaters, worth it. If not, definitely worth it on Blu-ray or DVD or whatever fucking 8-track, whatever you watch movies on.
Put it on your beta player.
Yeah, put it on your record machine.
Yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. But now we're gonna go to the next part of the video, which you can see on my channel, or is this one gonna be on yours? How we doing?
Put it on your channel. Yeah, that sounds good.
Part 2 is on my channel.
We're gonna talk about politics. Shit, people watch the political videos on your channel more anyway, so.
Yeah, they don't care about the stuff I put time and effort and thought into. just me being a rambling asshole about politics.
Alright, so...
Let's talk about him, though. There we go. Is that alright?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. I feel like you're giving me a creepy stand here, like I did something. What?
Do you want me to jerk you off yet?
No. Preferably not.
When am I gonna be able to do that?
I don't know. Never?
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't shut the camera off yet.
Oh, God.